Jesus said, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. These promises, the gift of life abundant that Jesus makes in these words, is constant throughout this Gospel of John. And it's a confusing, abundant life for us because our culture confuses abundance with excess, proclaiming that the only way to have abundance is to strive for more than we have right now. It's an unrealistic, and as we all probably know, an exhausting way to live. For Jesus, abundance has more to do with relationships than with riches. Abundance looks like protection and provision and presence. And all these things are found in the story that comes just before this morning's gospel lesson. Our story for today follows right after the story of a man who has his sight restored by Jesus, who was born blind. We heard it over a month ago, the fourth Sunday of Lent, and yet these stories are right next to each other, and we've seen a whole Easter resurrection between them. In this story, Jesus puts mud on a man's eyes, and when the man rinses it off, he can see. The Pharisees, the religious leaders of that day, are upset because Jesus has healed a man on the Sabbath. After aggressively questioning the man who was formerly blind and his parents, they drive him out of the synagogue. When Jesus hears this, he goes to find the man and reveals his identity to him, thus protecting him. The gospel that we just heard proclaimed follows immediately after this story with no break. It interprets the things that Jesus has performed in allowing the man born blind to see. Jesus has given this man abundant life in what He's done for him. He's offered the man provision, protection, and presence. When Jesus gave this man the ability to see, He provided him with a whole new life. Because of his inability to see, the man was constantly exposed to the elements, forced to beg for his meals, and cut off from community. His life was daily precarious and uncertain. Jesus provided sight and hope for him. The man could now be part of community and hope for a more stable, secure life. When the man was thrown out of the synagogue, Jesus protected him with His presence, assuring the man that Jesus, the one who restored his sight, is still with him. When Jesus says, I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly, which concludes our reading for today, Jesus is making a comment on the way that He healed this man who was born blind. Abundance for Jesus looks like providing sight for him, protecting him from those who would cut him off from community, and promising to always be present with him. Notice Jesus doesn't give the man fabulous wealth or fame or power. He offers healing, protection, and presence. That's it. Abundance, according to Jesus, does not look like lavishness or excess or opulence. It looks like having your basic needs met, believing that you are safe, and trusting that you'll never be alone. The abundance that Jesus offers has very little to do with riches and everything to do with relationship. In today's gospel, Jesus speaks of His followers as sheep and Himself as the gate for these sheep. In Jesus' time, sheep were free to graze in safe pastures during the day, but at night they were enclosed in a pen. For their own protection, they were gathered together so the shepherd could keep them safe from predators like wolves and bandits and thieves. Jesus, as the gate for the sheep, offered the man born blind protection from those who threw him out of the synagogue. Jesus, as our gate, offers us protection, protecting us. Jesus' protection is not a guarantee that nothing bad will ever happen to us. We all know the ups and downs and the struggles of life. Rather, Jesus' protection is an assurance that we will never be alone when the hard stuff of life happens. Jesus protects us with His presence and love. He's companion and guide for us in our lives together and individually. The shepherd brings the sheep out of the pen when it's time. The sheep follow Him, trust Him, know His voice, because they recognize the voice of the one who cares for them. We are under the love and care of Jesus, the one who calls us by name, beginning in our baptism, and leads us out into life. Jesus protects us, provides for us, and promises to always be with us. This is not the idea of abundance that our culture lifts up. It doesn't have anything to do with money or success. The abundance that Jesus offers is much more basic and, I think, life-giving than that other definition of abundance. It's the abundance lived out by the man who used to be blind and now has sight. It's the abundance of feeling a security and belonging to God that nothing in all the world can take away. It's like taking a deep breath, feeling the air fill your lungs as you relax your grip on your worries and offer them to God. It is taking one day at a time. When your worries wake you up in the night, when you're scared and sad, it's doing our best to practice trust that God is indeed watching over us. Just like the shepherd watches over the sheep in the pen at night, God watches over you. This kind of abundance won't make you rich or powerful or famous, but it might help you breathe more deeply and more easily, and be a bit more content with your life, imperfect and messy as all of our lives are. When you know that Jesus protects you, provides for you, and promises to be present with you always, you begin to experience abundance in a new way. This abundance that's for you, for me, and for all of us. For Jesus came, that we may have life and have it abundantly. May it be so for you and those near and dear to you.